The general quarters alarm goes off, and Fonda races to his battle station, thinking he's in for his first action. But nothing materializes. The alarm will go off several times over the next several weeks, with reports of Japanese subs or airplanes in the area.
This is Lee Habib, and this is Our American Stories, and we tell stories about everything here on this show, including yours. Send them to ouramericanstories.com. They're some of our favorites. We love to tell stories about movies and the culture. We also love telling stories about history, and this combines both elements beautifully. It's time for another one of our Roger McGrath's Hollywood Goes to War stories. We've done a number of them. Go to our website and do a search for Jimmy Stewart's and so many more. McGrath is the author of Gunfighters, Highwaymen, and Vigilantes, Violence on the Frontier, a U.S. Marine and former history professor at UCLA. Dr. McGrath has appeared on numerous History Channel documentaries and is a regular contributor for us here at Our American Stories. Here's Roger McGrath with the story of Henry Fonda.
Henry Fonda was one of the greatest actors of Hollywood's golden age, appearing in nearly 50 movies in the legendary years of the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. He would add 35 more movies in the 1960s and 70s. In 1940, he was nominated for Best Actor for his role as Tom Joad in The Grapes of Wrath, and then, 41 years later, won the Oscar for Best Actor for his role as Norman Thayer in On Golden Pond. Fonda played a wide variety of characters in films of many different genres, including several that are considered classics: Drums Along the Mohawk, Young Mr. Lincoln, The Grapes of Wrath, The Oxbow Incident, Fort Apache, 12 Angry Men, Mr. Roberts, The Longest Day. He was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1960. Henry Fonda is born in Grand Island, Nebraska in 1905 to William Fonda and his wife, Herberta. Young Henry is of Dutch, English, Scottish, and German descent. Most of his ancestors were here in America before the Revolution. In 1906, the family moves to Omaha. His sister, Harriet, is born in 1908, and a second sister, Jane, in 1909. His family is close-knit and raised in the Christian Science faith. His father has a successful printing business. Fonda is a good swimmer and runner, but spends much of his spare time drawing and making models. Like so many young boys of his era, he becomes a Boy Scout. By the time he graduates high school, he has grown to more than 6'1", but as thin as a rail. He goes off to the University of Minnesota to major in journalism, but works 2 part-time jobs to support himself and has little time to study or sleep. After completing 2 years, he tires of the grind and returns to Omaha. Dorothy Brando, a friend of his mother's, urges Fonda to audition for the part of a teenager in a play put on by the Omaha Community Playhouse. Fonda gives it a try and is cast in the role. More plays and more roles follow, and Fonda becomes determined to make acting his profession. Dorothy Brando, an experienced actress on the stage, continues to mentor Fonda. Dorothy will later mentor her own son, Marlon Brando. In 1928, Fonda heads east and joins the University Players in Massachusetts. In 1931, he marries another of the Players, Margaret Sullivan, who becomes the first of 5 successive Mrs. Fondas. In 1932, Margaret heads to New York City for a role as a female lead in a major stage production, and Fonda follows. However, the couple are soon divorced, and Fonda struggles finding parts. To save money, he shares a small apartment with the writer Josh Logan and another aspiring actor, James Stewart. Hank Fonda and Jimmy Stewart are alike in many ways, both from middle-class families in America's heartland, both tall and thin and boyish-looking, and both passionate about acting. Politically, though, they mostly disagree. Fonda is a solid Democrat, and Stewart is a staunch Republican. Work on the Broadway stage picks up for both of them during 1933 and 1934, and both catch the eye of Hollywood scouts. Fonda arrives in Hollywood in 1935 to take the role of the male lead in The Farmer Takes a Wife. Fonda has played the same part in the stage play of the same name on Broadway, so he is well prepared for the movie role. What he isn't well prepared for is the money he is suddenly making, $3,000 a week. And this is in the depths of the Great Depression, when $50 a week is considered good money for a professional. Stewart also arrives in Hollywood in 1935 to make his first movie. Soon, Fonda and Stewart are renting a house together and dating all the young starlets they can. From nearly starving in a small apartment in New York, they are now living it up in a large home in an upscale neighborhood.
And you've been listening to Roger McGrath tell the story of Henry Fonda. And my goodness, what a roommate to have, each of them. And what are the odds that Jimmy Stewart and Henry Fonda would share, well, let's just say share a very small shelter, because times were tight back when they moved to New York and were aspiring actors. When we come back, more of this remarkable life story, a part of our Hollywood Goes to War series, here on Our American Stories. Henry Fonda's story continues.